All the world's a stage. So I'm just going to tell you right now, Kansas is going to win the Super Bowl. Because there is a certain player on the team who is sponsored by a certain pharmaceutical company, which has a very obvious $1 trillion agenda. And he's also dating this huge celebrity. And to subconsciously program all the little people at the circus, bread and circus, they're going to implement in their minds their little advertisement with this player. If you're in the know, I don't think I need to name who these people are, but you'll know what I'm talking about. So if you want to make some money off of the agenda, I'd say fucking go for it and bet on Kansas. But all the world's a stage. It is to promote agenda number 1 because they allowed you to have your football back after quarantining you guys for 2.5 fucking years. Here's your circus back, but under the
It was rigged and scripted. The Patriots and Steelers game was set at a record low. It's been over 3 decades since we've seen a total set this low. Now the public, like they always do, listened to ESPN and ate this up. Most of the bets were on the under. And of course, Vegas had to collect. They went over 30 total points within the first half. Did you really think Vegas was gonna let that slide? More bets were placed on the total than the actual teams themselves. You have to wake up to the fact that these games are rigged and scripted for profit only. Learn how to take advantage. We've been calling games like this all year.
This is juicy. Let's see what we got going on in week 1. Holy
I gotta see how many yards Justin Jefferson had. He had. This is crazy.
in one game? Sheesh. No way broke the receiving yard record. Got to do that. Threw for how many yards? Holy they back in the playoff? Good for them.
Let's see what's going on in the NFL honors.
I was hoping y'all right in the end.
Y'all got winning Defensive Player of the Year.
You still taking suggestions for Offensive Player of the Year because I may know a guy. I like to skip to the end. This year's Super Bowl champions. Super Bowl champions. I can work with that. Y'all gonna like this.
It has become a kind of undeclared national holiday. Do you think that occasions like this help shape our national character, or are they really just kind of entertaining diversions from things like the deficit and terrorism and Gaddafi and stuff?
Well, I think it's typically American that we can have or be diverted by things like this from the serious problems. I think it's part of the American personality, and I know that other countries take athletics seriously, but there's something different about it in America. It's so much a part of American life that I think it's a part of our personality.
I know that football was important to you as a young man, so last week I called your old college football coach, Ralph McKenzie at Eureka College. He's 91 years old, still strong of voice. Now here's what he told me. He said that you were eager, aggressive, better on defense, but overall an average football player, but an outstanding talker. Is that a fair scouting report?
Well, probably, and I'm pleased that he didn't remember that much. After 91 years, he's still coaching. So there have been how many hundreds or thousands of young men have come through the ranks with him. But I remember him very vividly as a coach. He could demonstrate as well as tell you, because he had been a star at Eureka College, a great star himself. But I remember, for example, one day running plays, and to make scrimmage more even in practice, we would have the first string backfield with the second string line, and the first string line with the second string backfield, kind of even things up. So he was teaching a play to the first string backfield over there, and the fellow that was carrying the ball wasn't getting it right. And Mac, this was his way, he just came in and gently pushed him aside and says, now wait a minute, watch this. Now we, in the line on the other side, we know what the play is. We know where the man's coming. In fact, I got my hands on Mac when he came through, and I hurt every place he touched me. And right through the varsity line on the second string backfield, back with the ball, threw the ball down and says, now do it that away.
Now, you were a guard, and Presidents Ford, Nixon, and Kennedy also played in the line. What is there about the line that prepares you for presidential politics better than the backfield, it appears?
Well, you know, the line certainly feels that those fellows behind them wouldn't be able to do anything if we didn't pave the way for them. But No, I was a guard, and 3 years of varsity ball at Eureka. I averaged all but 2 minutes of every game.
And then when you became a film star, you got to play the part of the legendary George Gipp of Notre Dame, the Gipper, a great running back. But lately we've learned that Gipp was not only a great athlete, but he was a bit of a rogue. He was a pool shark and a card shark. And
there were some, he was as loyal and as principled about football and winning for Rockney. Yes, I knew some of those stories about him. As a matter of fact, I had been trying to write the story when I got in pictures with the idea of playing Gipp. And Warner Brothers bought the life story of Knute Rockne, and there it was. But yes, Gipp was older than the rest of the fellows and totally dedicated to winning. But he was a fellow that could almost, when he said he was like Babe Ruth pointing at the center field fence and then hitting it over that fence, he could almost do whatever he said he would do. And Mrs. Rockne, who was on the picture with us, told us that he was the only man in all those years that ever really got under Rock's skin to where there was a kind of father-son relationship with him.
the Oval Office may be the only office in America that doesn't have a betting pool going on the Super Bowl. Someone has estimated that, $2 billion may be wagered on this Sunday, most of it illegally. Does that bother you at all, that there's so much betting on football?
Well, I wish there would, that it could be without, because I think when it gets up to that kind of money, then there is too much temptation to try and fix things. And human nature being what it is, we know from past history that sometimes they get away with that. That was one of Rockne's greatest determinations, was he threw a gambler out of his office one day bodily who had come to see him and was seeking some information about who was going to win. And Rock he hated the idea of gambling associated with football.
Mr. President, football is a metaphor for so many things in American life, including politics. Now, at the end of this game today, one team is going to be in a deficit situation, and all those players are going to face a very taxing year in 1986. You're about to deliver the State of the Union address. Are you going to put the American people through the same experience in 1986, a taxing year?
A tax year, you said?
A taxing year. Will this be a tough year for them?
I don't like the use of that word. It might be taxing for me and my energy, but I don't like the idea that someone might hear this and think I'm thinking of taxing them, because I'm not. I don't want any.
Right now, all you have on your mind is the Super Bowl, watching it with Mrs. Reagan.
That's right, and remembering football much more vividly than...
February 9th, 2025, Super Bowl Sunday, and one of the storylines is Donald Trump will become the first president to attend a Super Bowl as president. The last time Trump went to the Super Bowl was 33 years ago in '92, when the Washington Redskins won, of course, the nation's capital, the Masonic City, where the headquarters for Masonry in D.C. is at the address 1733. Remember, in Gematria, Mason equals 17 and Masonry equals 33. But in light of Gematria, look at the values of Trump, and let's think about this first presidential attendance at a Super Bowl. Again, if you're new here, Gematria, the Kabbalistic practice of coding numbers into words, it's elementary. There's 4 base ciphers, the English language, the alphabetic order, the reverse alphabetic order, and both orders with numerology applied. You can see that with the alphabetic order, Trump equals 88. Big number with his scripted political career, where Oprah once asked him in 1988 if he'd like to be president someday. You can remember in 2016 when he came out to Queen, We Are the Champions for the GOP convention. He did it 88 days after the Queen's birthday. Who can forget the Mar-a-Lago raid on 8/8 and 1,000 other things with this guy. But again, 1988, the nation's capital also won the Super Bowl. That was the year the Redskins won it. The first black quarterback ever won the Super Bowl. Doug Williams with 42 points with 4 touchdowns in the second quarter, when 42 stamped all over black history, especially sports history. Just think Jackie number 42. Last year, Mahomes, as a black quarterback, won the Super Bowl on the 42nd day of the year, the first time it was ever played on the 42nd day of the year, making his team 4-2. And the first Super Bowl Mahomes won, he had 42 pass attempts. And the second one he won it in Arizona over Jalen Hurts. Arizona is one of the few states with a gematria of 42. And the only other black quarterback to win the Super Bowl was Russell Wilson, representing the 42nd state, Washington State. First it was the Washington Redskins, then it was the team from Washington, and then it was the Chiefs. The only black quarterbacks who've ever won, there's been 3. They've all won on the native teams. Redskins, Seattle, the Seattle Seahawks. Seattle's named after Chief Seattle. Their symbolism on their helmet comes from the local Native American tribe. Chiefs goes without saying. What are they trying to tell you about history? Is it possible there were black people already here who were natives when the European settlers came? Anyhow, Trump with the alphabetic order of numerology equals 25 like felon. Again, our first felon president in 2025 because the scripts are that bad. Don't forget when he first became president, that's when he was cheering for Brady and Belichick against the Falcons. Jesuit-educated Matt Ryan went to Boston College right next door to the Patriots Stadium, and he gave up the 25-point lead on 2-5 as the Patriots with Belichick and Brady became 5-2 in Super Bowls. That was Brady's record. 5-2 after the game on 2-5 or 5-2. Of course, when you run the alphabetic order in reverse, Trump equals 47. We told you years ago why he would win this election. A lot of 47s with Trump as well. And what's interesting about this Super Bowl in New Orleans is the first ever Super Bowl in this stadium was 47 years ago. Super Bowl 12. That one was won by Dallas. And, of course, the Kansas City Chiefs were once the Dallas Texans. Of course, the Chiefs' first playoff win this year was over the Texans. Last year, when the Chiefs went on to win the Super Bowl, the first two games of the playoffs were on that Saturday. The Texans won, the Chiefs won. I like to pay tribute to those teams. The Texans became the Kansas City Chiefs in '63, the year that JFK got smoked in Dallas. JFK died in Parkland Hospital in the 214 area code. We all know about the Parkland shooting on 214. The Stoneman Douglas Eagles, after the Eagles won the Super Bowl last year on 214, shooting at the Kansas City Chiefs parade, a team that started in Dallas. Think about it. By the way, RIP to the ref who worked the first ever Super Bowl in this stadium 47 years ago, Mr. Tooney. He died 59 days before Super Bowl 59 on December 12th. RIP. The next day, the Chief Jimmy Wilkerson died on Taylor Swift's birthday. R.I.P. But Trump, when you run it in reverse with numerology, 29. Mahomes is 29 years old. The word football equals 29, like Ohio. Ohio is the birthplace of American football. Funny enough, the word 3 equals 29. Mahomes, the third black quarterback to win a Super Bowl. And remember, Mahomes also became the 33rd quarterback